Handling criticism is tough, especially when it feels like a personal attack. But Stoic philosophy offers a different approach, one that turns feedback into fuel for growth. In this video, we'll explore 7 key lessons from the ancient Stoics and share 5 actionable tips to help you master the art of responding to criticism. By the end of this video, you'll see feedback in a whole new light and use it to improve yourself. Before we dive into these insights, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to catch our next video on Stoic wisdom and personal growth. Now, let's get started. Lesson 1. See criticism as an opportunity for growth. Let's start with perhaps the most important lesson from Stoicism. View criticism as an opportunity for improvement. It's natural to feel defensive when someone criticizes you. It's a reaction rooted in human nature. After all, no one enjoys feeling judged or inadequate. But Stoicism invites us to flip the narrative. Instead of seeing criticism as something to fear, look at it as a chance to grow. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, suggested that we regularly evaluate ourselves. In his nightly reflections, he asked, "What weakness have I mastered today? What feelings were at odds? What temptation did you resist?" This introspection reminds us that criticism, no matter how harsh or unexpected, is not a personal attack, but a valuable opportunity for self-improvement. The key here is humility. No one is perfect, and there is always room for improvement. The next time you're criticized, try asking yourself, what can I learn from this feedback? Even if the criticism feels unfair, is there a kernel of truth that you can use to get better? Seeking feedback proactively, instead of waiting for it to find you, shows that you are committed to growth and improvement. Lesson 2. Separate opinion from fact. One of the challenges in handling criticism is learning to separate opinion from fact. When you receive feedback, it can be difficult to determine whether it's based on objective truth or someone's subjective opinion. For example, if someone tells you that your report is full of errors, this is something you can fact-check and correct. However, if they say your report is terrible, that's an opinion, influenced by personal biases. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our reactions. You cannot change someone's opinion, but you can control how you respond to it. Before you allow criticism to upset you, pause and ask yourself, is this feedback based on facts or just someone's subjective view? By learning to distinguish between the two, you'll be able to react more rationally and avoid letting unfounded criticism undermine your confidence. Lesson 3. Practice emotional detachment. Now, let's move on to one of the most challenging aspects of Stoicism, emotional detachment. When we hear criticism, it's easy to get swept up in our emotions, anger, sadness, frustration. But Stoic wisdom encourages us to detach emotionally, creating a mental distance between the critique and our feelings. As Epictetus put it, people are not upset by things, but by how they think about them. Practicing emotional detachment doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means acknowledging them without letting them control your actions. By focusing on the present moment and keeping your emotions in check, you'll be able to respond to criticism in a calm and rational manner, rather than reacting impulsively. Remember, it's not the criticism itself that hurts, it's how we choose to perceive it. Lesson 4. Embrace self-reflection. Criticism can be painful, but it also offers an opportunity for self-reflection. When faced with feedback, instead of immediately defending yourself, take a step back and reflect on the situation. Ask yourself questions like, what could I have done differently? What is this criticism teaching me? Seneca advised that we regularly reflect on our weaknesses and virtues. By making self-reflection a habit, you become more aware of your actions and more open to learning from criticism. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to continually improve. Self-reflection helps you see criticism as a tool for personal growth rather than a judgment of your character. Lesson 5. Craft measured responses. Stoicism teaches that we should always aim to craft measured responses to criticism. When someone criticizes you, it's tempting to react defensively or emotionally, but Stoics remind us to pause before responding. Take a deep breath, reflect on the feedback, and then respond thoughtfully. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This is a reminder that criticism only has power over us if we allow it to. Instead of reacting defensively, pause and ask yourself, is there any truth to this feedback? How can I respond constructively? By taking the time to reflect before responding, you can engage in a more thoughtful and productive conversation. Lesson 6. Accept impermanence. Criticism, like everything else in life, is fleeting. Accepting impermanence is a key Stoic principle. Whatever criticism you face today, it will eventually pass. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of the temporary nature of life's challenges. In the grand scheme of things, a moment of criticism is insignificant. By accepting that everything changes, you can let go of the sting of criticism and focus on what truly matters, your personal growth and development. Lesson 7. Find the kernel of truth. Finally, one of the most valuable lessons from Stoicism is learning to find the kernel of truth in criticism. Even if a critique seems harsh or unfair, there is often some truth hidden within it. Instead of brushing off criticism or taking it personally, take a step back and ask yourself, what part of this feedback is true? How can I use it to improve? Stoics believe that we are in control of our own lives. We can't change what others say about us, but we can take responsibility for our actions and learn from criticism. By seeking the truth in feedback, we can grow stronger, build character, and become better versions of ourselves. Now that we've explored the 7 key lessons from Stoicism, let's get practical. How can you apply these insights to your life? Here are 5 actionable steps to help you handle criticism like a Stoic. Step 1. Pause and breathe. When you first receive criticism, your initial reaction might be to defend yourself or become upset. But before you respond, pause and breathe. Take a moment to let the emotions settle. As we've learned from Stoicism, reacting impulsively rarely leads to productive outcomes. By pausing, you create the space to reflect and respond with clarity. During this pause, take a deep breath and remind yourself that criticism is not an attack. It's an opportunity for growth. Count to 10 if necessary, and allow yourself the time to process the feedback before you say anything. Step 2. Ask yourself, is it true? Once you've taken a moment to breathe, it's time to evaluate the feedback. Ask yourself, is there truth to this criticism? Be honest with yourself, even if the critique was delivered harshly. Separate the tone from the content and focus on what you can learn. If there's a kernel of truth in the feedback, embrace it as a chance to improve. This step requires humility. It's not always easy to admit that someone else might be right, but this is where growth happens. Remember, the goal is not to be perfect, it's to continually get better. Step 3. Learn and grow. If you've identified truth in the criticism, it's time to learn and grow. Don't shy away from feedback, even if it stings. Use it as a stepping stone towards self-improvement. Ask yourself, What can I do differently next time? How can I apply this feedback to become better? Remember, none of us are perfect, and criticism can act as a map, showing us where we need to develop. By embracing the feedback, you turn a potentially negative experience into a valuable learning opportunity. Step 4. Handle criticism at work with professionalism. Criticism in the workplace is inevitable, but how you handle it is what sets you apart. Respond to feedback with professionalism and grace. Listen attentively, take notes, and ask clarifying questions. This demonstrates that you are open to learning and willing to improve. Even if the criticism feels tough, maintain your composure. If you disagree with the feedback, present your perspective calmly and focus on finding solutions rather than making excuses. By handling criticism professionally, you leave a lasting, positive impression. Step 5. Handle criticism in relationships with an open heart. Dealing with criticism in personal relationships can be more emotionally charged, but it's just as important to approach it with an open heart. When a loved one offers you criticism, listen carefully to their perspective. Don't rush to defend yourself. Instead, try to understand their point of view and what they are trying to communicate. Criticism in relationships, when handled with care, can strengthen the bond between you and your partner. It can open the door to deeper connection and trust. So, the next time a loved one offers feedback, listen with empathy and use it as an opportunity to grow together. Conclusion: turning criticism into growth. Criticism will always be a part of life, but how you handle it can define your personal and professional growth. By applying the timeless lessons of Stoicism, you can transform criticism from a source of pain into a tool for improvement. Whether you're dealing with criticism at work or in your personal life, remember to pause, reflect, and grow. With these 7 Stoic lessons and 5 practical steps, you now have a roadmap for handling criticism with grace, humility, and wisdom. Criticism doesn't have to define you, it can refine you. So the next time criticism comes your way, embrace it and use it as an opportunity to become the best version of yourself. Thank you for watching this video. If you found value in these insights, don't forget to like this video. Share it with friends and family so they can benefit from these lessons too. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below, sharing your own experiences with handling criticism. Let's grow stronger together.